It's up for grabs now!
Magic ball from Bergkamp to Patrick Vieira!
Oh, would you believe it? Oh, right, what a way to get it!
Fabulous solo goal by Thierry Henry.
Good evening, everybody. A very warm welcome to the Arsenal Lounge. Sorry for the delay. Me and Tom were here waiting for Lev to turn up, so it is what it is. Sometimes I'm sure Tom will back me up on that. Lev, how you been? Why are you late?
I'm not saying anything. It's not like I'm just not saying anything. I'm not late. I was here. I was the first one here, sitting like a muppet in the studio. Shaheen, you're coming in, out, in, out. Don't even talk to me until Tom comes in, and now he's trying to have me up live on the lounge. And hello, good evening to everybody. I'm good, man. I'm really happy. I'm in a good place. Thank you for asking. And it's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, very good, mate. Very good. Excited to be an Arsenal fan right now, to be honest. Just very nice to be an Arsenal fan and, enjoying picking up 3 points. Not only just Arsenal picking up 3 points, boys, but a certain someone got 3 points at the weekend as well.
I know.
And a little 2-0 prediction came true. So,
I'm surprised he hasn't booked up yet.
I think officially Lev is now on his own at the bottom of the table. Just putting that out there. I think that's now the case. Yeah.
By how much?
2 points, I think.
Hey, it's still like 11 games to go, boys. Yeah, relax, yeah.
Yeah. There's plenty of way to go. I'm
out.
sure Lev will sort something out because last week you were not here. Lev and Moore ran a little poll on his Instagram. And he asked people how much should each person pay, and a lot of people voted for £50 per head. So that's the damage. But everybody that is watching on Mo's channel, Mo obviously he's having a wonderful time in Dubai, so he's not here this week. And
can't believe that's so selfish, man. Could just stop and he could have done that live from Dubai, couldn't he?
Well, he's having fun with his wife and kids, so we'll let him be, and we'll let him enjoy the show from distance. I'm sure he's going to watch it at some point. So, hi Mo, hope you're having fun. Where should we start? Do you know what? I want to start with something, and I know Tom might be in the same boat as me here. You were not here, Lev, last week. We done a show.
That's twice you mentioned it now. I wasn't here last week.
No. I'm not having a pop. If I wanted to have a pop, I will call you and I'll tell you.
All right.
Do you know what? After the show, yeah, I got a battering in the comments. Did you see that, Tom?
Yeah, people were saying that me and Mo should host it.
Yeah, and I was like, what? No. There's some people. There's some people in life that are like this as well. If they don't agree with you, automatically you don't know nothing or you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, you know what I was doing on my day off on Monday, don't you old busy fingers behind the keyboard?
Yeah, well, no, I just want to point out, Tom, I know you had this issue as well before, whereas if you've got an opinion that people don't agree with it doesn't mean you can come in and say, oh, you don't know about this, you don't know about that. It's okay to have a different opinion. And I don't know why some people are like this. Everyone is covered. There was a guy, actually, I put a post on YouTube this morning, and there was a guy who said, oh, I can't wait for Shaheen to now turn around and having a pop at Odegaard. And I replied to him, I said, well, why? I'm happy we won. Why do you think I should have a pop at Odegaard? I said, yeah, because you've got an agenda against Arteta and Odegaard and this and that. And I just wanted to address that. Look, at the time that I was critical of Odegaard, he was not performing. He was actually dropped. Right, and Arteta, when I was critical of him, he was not getting the results. Team were not performing, and I've given him credit for games, and I've praised Odegaard for last game, and I'm going to praise him again today. So it doesn't mean because I've given my opinion at the time about something, I don't know nothing about football. There was Lev, I forgot Watford's stadium, Vicarage Road. I forgot the name. Right. there was a guy who put out a comment. This guy doesn't know nothing about football. How can you not know Watford's name?
Man,
Like,
listen,
what is the relevance of
it's
that?
not
man?
my fault. People are starting to clock onto it now, Shaheen.
I
What
know,
do you want me to do,
I'm
man?
getting
I'll leave
found
you
out.
alone
I'm
for
getting
one
found out,
day.
man.
I'll leave you alone for one day. I don't get comments like that. I don't even know what you're talking about. So I'm sorry this happened to you. Must have been awful. But you must have also done something really badly wrong. I'm sure of it.
Oh, he's frozen now. Look.
Oh, I thought
No,
it was
no,
being
no,
awkward.
No, he was completely frozen.
My
He's
laptop
back
didn't
now.
like you. My
I
laptop
thought it
didn't
was
like you.
being awkward with me. I thought that was
You know what?
hiding in my tea there.
Let's-
I was like...
Let's talk about the Leicester game. Tom, what was your thoughts
Yes,
on the
mate.
game?
I thought Leicester were dreadful. That's probably where I would start. I thought they were awful.
Do you know what? I was quite surprised with that corner stat, Tom.
Yeah, mad. And I mean, to be fair, both teams' corner stats. Like, it's very impressive.
Yeah.
We've not conceded a single corner. I can't remember the exact figure. And luckily, I have people who bombard me with DMs who actually tell me a lot of these. We faced 121 corners this season and conceded none. And I think Leicester are conceding at a rate of 1 every 6 or something. It's something ridiculous, like how many corners.
The guy
they
was
concede.
just talking about it, and then as soon as he talked about it, Partey scored.
Yeah, look, take nothing away from the header and the delivery of the corner. They're excellent. Leicester should defend it. They shouldn't be allowing a near post header to go in like that. Let's be real. But Leicester weren't good. They played midweek. We knew that. However, we played very, very well. When we were on the ball, some of the interplay was excellent. The way in which we pressurised Leicester was really good. And even though we allowed Leicester to kind of have a lot of the ball in the second half of the first half in particular, they never really threatened. I'd use the analogy of like a bully holding a small child at arm's length, or they swing their arms and apply no damage to you. That's kind of how it felt. We were just holding Leicester at arm's length, never really threatening us whatsoever. Again, it was another masterclass from your favourite player in the world, Shaheem Martin Odegaard, who was absolutely fantastic.
What you were saying about him.
But Thomas Partey as well. I mean, we talk about players in 2022. Odegaard has shown, but Thomas Partey is showing exactly the player that we bought and why we bought him and why we paid that much. And look, we'll go on to some of the specifics, I'm sure. But overall, I was very happy with the game, very happy with getting a comfortable victory. But, I felt like it was a relatively comfortable fixture, considering the expectation and the pressure that was surrounding it as well.
Yeah. Well said. Lev?
Oh, I think Tom's put it really, really nicely in his journo style. But I mean, I don't know, something about kids and arm's length and all this shit. I can't give you that stuff, boys. But what I will say was, I was really impressed. I was really impressed the way we're playing. The Watford game, we saw the patterns of play, but we did concede, and I was getting a bit concerned that we kept on conceding sort of late in the game. So that was a slight concern. But for me, I just think the fact that we carried it on into the Leicester game and showed it against the better side. Okay, we're all talking about the fact that they've got Europe in midweek and all of that, but even they came out when being sort of questioned after the game and didn't use that as an excuse. They feel that they've been managing that quite well, but our performance was good. We did play very well. The thing that excites me most is the patterns of play that we weren't seeing before. You're starting to see Odegaard, that sort of conductor we've been lacking, that Fabregas, that Santi Cazorla type player, is starting to come out in Odegaard. And I, for one, was one of those who had doubts about him. I'm not going to sit here and lie about it. And I don't see why we should be frightened to admit if he wasn't sure or if he wasn't right about a player. I always knew he was talented. I just wasn't sure whether he could fit into the sort of role we expected from him. But he's proving me wrong. And so may it continue. I mean, he's brilliant. He's been brilliant. I'll have to say that. Partey looks like a player now as well. I think with a striker, we would have scored more yesterday with like a goal-scoring striker, as well as Lacazette has played. So the great thing is there's room for improvement in this team, but we're still looking really good.
Yeah, and I echoed that as well. And I thought it was a really, really good performance. Check this out. Hear me out, right? Martin Odegaard reminded me of prime Mesut Ozil yesterday, right? There was some turns and twists that I was impressed. Right?
Are you
And
just
when I
playing
was
to the fans now to
criticizing-
try and get him
No,
back
when I
on
was
track?
criticizing him, he was not doing any of these things. Right?
Yeah, I know.
He was finding pockets, and his positioning was good. His passing, the 1-2s, he was playing with Lacazette and Saka was really good. Thomas Partey was really good. I think in the system that we're playing and the way I think he's playing in the midfield, I think we're seeing a better version of Granit Xhaka as well. I think he's advancing a little bit more, and I think he's making less mistakes as previously. Ramsdale made a world-class save, and it was a really, really good save. But I predicted 2-1 because I thought Vardy will play and he will always score against us. But apart from Jamie Vardy, I didn't really fear anything, and it was a comfortable 2-0 clean sheet, perfect way to obviously move to Liverpool game. And I thought, listen, Leicester at home, and I think these are games that I expect us to win. We won, and we won well, so that's good. We're happy about that. I'm happy my team is winning. We're in a good run. But the big test now, and this is something I'd like to start talking about, Lev, is Wednesday, right? Because beating Liverpool at home is not something I expect. I would welcome it, but I don't expect us to go and beat Liverpool as comfortably as we beat Leicester. Having said that, if we played against Liverpool the same way we played against Man City, maybe we've got a chance.
Listen, we have got a chance. I mean, the thing that is in our favour is that Liverpool do have to come out and attack. They would have attacked anyway, let's be honest. This is the only way they play. But I think it may suit us because we are set up very nicely for the counter-attack. We've got a lot of pace on the wings. Their fullbacks like to push on. We're going to have to be very, very smart how we do it. But there will be leaving space in behind if we can utilise it. So there's every chance, we have got an opportunity. But what I don't want also, though, is if we don't win, I don't think there should be an overreaction because this is a world-class team. They're very much, one of the best teams in the world up there with City and the others as well. And it could go fine lines. Look at the Man City game, the last one. We were superb and we should have won that game, but we didn't. And it could just be changed at one sort of bit of genius or one slight error. But I do really, really want us to perform against a team like Liverpool and get a result. So fingers crossed, it's a good time for us to be playing him. It sounds like Salah might be injured. Even if he does play, he's going to be, there's going to be question marks around him. So it's a good time for us and we're very confident. And we haven't been juggling the European football like these guys have, like Tom mentioned earlier.
You know what, Lev? There's one thing you said that's I'm just thinking about, and it concerns me a little bit. When you say you play counter-attacking football, we're good at it, right? When you play counter-attacking football, you need a finisher up front.
Yeah.
Right? You need somebody that when you quickly get the ball to him, he will finish it for you. And we're lacking that right now.
That's what concerns me. Yeah.
Yeah. And another thing with the Liverpool game, because I was thinking about this today, actually, and I was thinking when it comes to predictions, what should I say? And the problem that I'm finding with this game is I think they've got a really strong defense and midfield, and we don't really have a vocal point of hurting them, because Lacazette tends to drop, and it's the runners from the side normally that come in, like Martinelli or Saka, that cause problem. And I think their forward line is also really good, and our defense has been good as well, to be fair to them. But I think they're a little bit better going forward than our defense can handle. I mean, they're not a Leicester or a Watford or Burnley, or with all due respect to them. And I just think going forward from Arsenal point of view, they've got a defense to handle that. So
well, you know what, Shaheen? Our strengths are on the wings though, as well. So
yeah, but remember they've got Robertson and
but they like to bomb on. They do like to bomb on. And the good thing for us now is our transition from the time the defense gets the ball into midfield. It's much quicker. When Odegaard gets it, it moves quicker. So I think we could utilize areas if we've got that speed of thought. We have at the moment.
I just hope he'll come up with a good plan. I don't know what you think, Tom, but I don't think it would be a good idea to say, you know what, we go toe to toe with Liverpool. Will you play?
No, no. What I would say though is that I do think that if you look at the West Ham result from the first half of the season, when West Ham beat them, they won by outplaying Liverpool in many sections of that game, and they did attack Liverpool. I don't think that you can expect to get a result against Liverpool by sitting back and absorbing pressure and just hitting on the counter.
I don't think that will work.
I think that when we lost them at home in the League Cup, I think that we got kind of hit for six a bit, and we were a little bit naive with how we played, because if you remember, despite them not having Mane and Salah, they played with, I think it was Firmino, Jota, and Gordon, I want to say, in their front three. And what that was basically we went full tilt for the first kind of 15 minutes, and we really tried to hit them early. And then the issue was that because we didn't really have Partey and Xhaka kind of anchoring the midfield, and we had a very inexperienced and out of form Sambi Lokonga at that point playing, on the transition, we got absolutely ruined. And so they managed to get a goal, and our heads just went after we conceded, and we never really got back into the game. Last season, we held them till about the 60-something minute. And then I think Salah scored, and they scored about 4 minutes later in that. I think it was 64th and 68th minute that they scored in. And then they got a third goal in the 82nd minute. And again, our edge just went. So I feel like if we can get the first goal in this game, we've got an amazing chance of getting a result. But if we were to say go 1-0 down, I'd have real concern about kind of our position and our foothold in the match. And that's what Arteta's got to kind of manage. And there's a lot of discussion, and I'd love to know what you guys think about whether or not we should go to a back three in this game and bring Rob Holding in like we did at Anfield after Xhaka got sent off, and whether or not we should kind of hold it and hit on the counter, and you say Tavares in a wing-back role and Cedric would be a lot better, because then we wouldn't have to worry about Cedric's defensive frailties because we'd have the extra centre-back.
Exactly, Tom, because that's the next thing I was going to say when we were talking about the forward line of Liverpool and our defence. Cedric will have to deal with Sadio Mane.
Yeah.
And I think Mane is a far superior player than Cedric. He might be able to handle, Leicester's and Watford's and that sort of game. Fine, right? But we're talking about a big game, right? That if we beat Liverpool, effectively, we've got 1 foot across the line when it comes to top four, because there's going to be.
If we beat Liverpool, the idea of Arsenal not getting top four would be mad if we can get a win over them.
Yeah,
because there's no team in the league from that point that we shouldn't be able to beat if we can beat Liverpool. Really.
Yeah. So it is a big game, and we've had a recent run of form, played against mid-table-ish teams, and we've done well. We've performed well. We've got results, good results, clean sheets, solid. Right, but there's an argument to say those teams are ones that we expected to win. This is the test now. We played Leicester on Sunday, right? We haven't played two games in the space of 3 days for a while now. It's always 1 week, then a game, and you got a whole week to rest. So this is a test, and I'm really interested to see, one, how the team would line up, and two, are we going to see the same level of performance from certain players in the team, and by those I mean the likes of Saka, Odegaard, Lacazette, because you coming up against top players. I mean, Lacazette is going to play against Virgil van Dijk and Matip. It's not going to be easy for him to hold the ball up. What do you think, Lev?
Listen, we know how good Liverpool we are, how good they are, and we know that they're ahead of us in as a team whilst we're still developing. But it doesn't mean they can't be beaten. They have been beaten, and we are in a good run of form. I do like what Tom was saying about the West Ham thing. I mean, he said that they attacked them, but it wasn't more. I think the West Ham performance was they attacked them in the sense that they shut them down. They played them at their own game, and perhaps there's another thing. Maybe they need to be outworked to be beaten. They like to be comfortable on the ball.
But Lev, do you think we can keep that up for 90 minutes? I know West Ham did, but
West Ham did it, and let's be honest.
That's once.
Yeah, the one thing that concerns me about these big games, you hit the nail on the head earlier, is what I've been saying is in these big tight games, it's usually a quality world-class striker or a top-notch striker that sort of does something special when you need it in a tight game. And we don't have that. Laka needs 1 or 2, maybe 3 chances. But look, I am positive. I can see us going into this game with a lot of positivity. Even though we lost against City, I think we carried that on, knowing that we've performed against the top side. It's put us in good stead. And I think they now starting to believe they can play against these better teams. Yes, the favourites are still Liverpool, but I don't know. Even if we got a draw, it wouldn't be the end of the world.
Would you take a draw right now?
Oh, I'd snap your arm off for a draw, mate.
Yeah, I would as well.
Absolutely snap your arm off for a draw. Yeah.
If we don't lose these big games, we've got a really nice buffer right now.
You know what? I don't. As people see in the comments and chats, they always said, "Oh, you're always this against Arteta and all that." The biggest compliment that I can give to Mikel Arteta is that I don't fear this fixture anymore. Before there will be. I used to in the predictions. I would say we're gonna lose. I know. I hope we lose 1-0.
That is still my prediction, by the way, because we're being very serious with our prediction. I'm not predicting a win, but you're absolutely right, Shaheen. Like, I don't go into any games now fearing what might happen. I've got a confidence about Arsenal. Like, I feel like Arteta and the team that we've got now have definitely given us that. Not bravado or arrogance anymore back, but kind of we can appreciate the potential of the side for every game.
Yeah, I just think we're a bit more solid.
Yeah,
before we used to. I'm sure you guys remember we used to go to these fixtures within 10 minutes. We were 1-0 down.
Yeah, but I remember
going to Anfield, the likes of Anfield, Stamford Bridge, and all that, right? And within 5-10 minutes, you're 1-0 down.
Yeah.
And straight
did
away,
you watch the United Spurs game, Shaheen?
I did, yes.
Did you notice how the difference between Arsenal and those two is they're that Arsenal side defensively. Both of them are so weak defensively, and they look like they could concede at any moment. Whereas we don't have that anymore. It's not we're not perfect,
and I agree with you.
Watford showed we're not perfect.
But,
and I agree
with
progression.
You. I've said this on the show before. I said one of the luckiest people in the world. Right, I think it's Harry Maguire. He's playing for Man United. He's the club captain, plays for England, and the guy is just. I mean, I would have Mertesacker over him, and I would have. I don't know. The guy is just. I'm so happy that they are what they are because I'm quite confident we can beat them at Emirates, no problem. Right. The only person that worries me in that Man United team is Ronaldo. Apart from that. The rest are very average. And you're right. And I said the biggest thing I can say to Mikel Arteta is that I actually don't fear this fixture on Wednesday, which says a lot about where we were and where we have come.
It says a lot about where you are because,
do I still think? Do I still think he is this top manager, this and that? I don't know because if we do finish top four, he's done it. If he does finish top four. He's done a fantastic job. I can't sit here and call for him to get sacked. It's just going to be stupid of me, right? But then next season, it's going to be a completely different ball game because you're going to be playing Champions League. You're going to be playing the Premier League. What if you finish top four next season? The expectation is automatically fourth.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? But then you've got to adjust and.
Got to keep progressing. You can't go backwards.
Exactly.
Lev, I remember when we chatted a couple of weeks ago. You said if we finished outside the top four, you'd still sack him. Do you still feel that way?
Are you asking me or Lev?
He's asking
both
me.
of you. I'm asking Lev. It's important.
That's a really good. That's a good question. It's a good question because, at the end of the day, you could turn around and say you can see real progression in the way we're playing. You can see it. You can see what he's done. I would probably have to say, if we just miss out on it, no, I probably wouldn't sack him right now, based on the performances that I'm seeing. Right? I mean, but I still do think Arsenal should be at least in the top four. A team like Arsenal. I don't.
Yeah, but
that's what I think. But I know what you're saying. It's a transition.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And look, that conversation between Jamie O'Hara and Laura Woods on TalkSport went viral when he raised that point. He's like, Arsenal should be in the top four. It's Arsenal, and I agree with that viewpoint in the sense that look what kind of club Arsenal are. We should be in the top four, but we have fallen a very long way, and we finished 8th the last two seasons. So obviously we've been out of Europe for a long time since 2018, 2017. We've been outside of Champions League, sorry. So, and the mistakes made and the amount of money that's used that we've spent since Kroenke had part ownership in 2007. We've spent over £1 billion on transfers since 2007, and we look where we kind of are. It's about where we've gone since then and the change that we made, and obviously the mistakes we made, like the mistake in appointing Emery after Wenger, the mistakes in the market that we've made, the arguable, we say a mistake, and I still do look at it a bit of a mistake appointing Arteta in the first place, and really inexperienced coach that took over an Arsenal side in probably its worst position in my living memory. And whilst it looks to be coming good now and it's paying off, those first 2 years, maybe things would have been different if we'd have hired someone else. We don't need to talk about that because we're in a very different place now. But the expectation to say that Arsenal should be, and Arsenal, you know, based upon when you apply the context of where Arsenal are as a club in 2022, I think finishing fourth this year represents a giant leap forwards, and it represents an overachievement of where we are contextually, if you know what I mean.
I agree 100% with you, Tom. I think it's an overachievement if you finish on top four.
So you wouldn't sack him, Shaheen? You wouldn't sack him?
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
Wow. Jeez.
Because, look, you've got to...
Looks like the loud just broke you in the comments.
No, it's not that they broke me. It's just that, listen, you know, I don't have anything against the guy personally.
No,
right? You've got to look at his performance, and at the end of the season, if we're just missing out on top four, you've got to look at his performance as a whole and say, yes, there has been mistakes, there has been issues, or whatever, right? But overall, he's improved the team. Team looks better. We're finished higher up, and I think the fact that he's playing one game a week has helped him enormously because he gets to spend a whole week with them in the training ground.
Can I throw something into this then to make it a little bit more spicy, right? So I hear what Tom's saying in the sense of he was referring to a conversation we had a couple of weeks ago. I said, look, well, I expect top four. If not, we sack him. Now we're saying, look, based on his performances, do you know what? You know, he's looking good. I wouldn't sack him. And some in the chat rightfully say it would take us back a little bit because I know Nick was saying...
I saw that coming.
I know Nick was saying Emery finished fifth and all of this, but I think this team needed more than just having a manager. It needed a total change from within and gutting. Yeah. And I think Arteta's done that. He's changed the mentality. You got to remember the mentality of this team a few years back. We were always a bit soft-centered, and we could have loads of possession and lose. So where I was going with this was this. Okay, I agree with what you're saying. You know, maybe we shouldn't sack him if we don't finish fourth or whatever. But then there's the opposite argument, which is as follows. From this position where we're at right now, we've got huge buffer, 3 games in hand, right? It's there for the taking. Would it not be a huge failure at this stage not to make top four? And then should he not be judged on that?
It depends, Lev. You know, for all you know, for example, I'll give you for argument's sake, right? Against Liverpool, Thomas Partey and Lacazette get long-term injuries. You know, if these are the reasons, then we fail to qualify for Champions League. You would understand. But if we fail to qualify for Champions League because of the manager's downfall, or he starts making dodgy decisions, which he hasn't for a while, right? Then you've got to say, well, it's on you and that we have not failed. I mean, Tom has put something on a private chat for us as well, that he says there are reports. I can't put that on the screen because I don't have the facilities, but it says reports coming out now that Arsenal confident that Arteta will sign a new deal. PSG are interested in Mikel Arteta.
I'll put it in the chat box so you can highlight it as well.
Here we go. So if let's say, I'll put this back to you, Lev, actually, and Tom. Let's say he qualifies for Champions League, right? And then PSG comes knocking on the door.
Yeah, go ahead.
And now Arsenal, out of a sudden, they're going to be panicking that, we don't want to lose this guy because...
There's also a chance that his agent could be doing that, knowing that there's contract talks coming up and leaking rumours like that. Because...
Possibly.
You know, and based on what you're saying to me earlier, you know, if they don't make it and all of this stuff, I hear what you're saying, but I still feel that right now, at this point where we're at, although it's overachieving, it is there in our hands to get top four. And if we don't, it'll be a huge. It would. The more I think of it, it would be a big failure. from where the position we're in now. I understand from the start of the season to now we can say, oh my God, we've overachieved. But now we're here. We've got to look at the situation as is. And the facts are we are in a very strong position. We've got 3 games in hand over Man United, who's going to drop more points. We've got some difficult games coming up, but
you know what? Talking about difficult games coming up, right? So we're playing Wednesday. We're playing Liverpool at home. On Saturday, and it's an early kickoff on Saturday, right? We're playing Aston Villa away. This could be a tricky one as well. And then afterwards, we're playing Crystal Palace away. Palace away is always a difficult fixture. Then we've got Brighton at home. I think it's fair to say I expect 3 points. Southampton away. And then you got United at home, West Ham away, Leeds at home, Newcastle away. I watched Newcastle against Chelsea. They look good.
All right. How good was Guimaraes in that game? He was brilliant in that game.
Annoyingly good, yeah. Annoyingly good.
Yeah, but Newcastle away, and it's towards the end of season as well. So Newcastle might be trying to secure their position. And then last game at home is Everton at home. And Everton are in a bit of a dodgy place. So they could be playing for survival.
I'm not worried about Everton.
No, I'm just saying it's not the easiest of run-ins.
Look,
right?
the one
winnable game, and the Chelsea game obviously is to be rescheduled as well. It's not in there. So the fixtures coming up, reading out this fixture, if he finishes in top 4, it's an overachievement, wouldn't you say?
Yes. No, if we finish top 4, it's an overachievement.
Yeah, I agree.
It's an overachievement. At the start of the season, I thought Arsenal would finish 6th. That was my prediction. Based upon the business that Manchester United had done. And let's be real, everyone was touting United as title challengers at the start of the season. That's where people thought they would be. Chelsea just won the Champions League. Spurs had just brought in a new coach after sacking. Who was it they sacked before? Was it Ryan Mason and then previously Mourinho, wasn't it, before they brought in Nuno? Which I thought was a bit of a lame appointment, to be fair.
It was a desperate one, really.
When you've got one of the top 2 strikers in the world, and you've got a player like Son as well, look, they're always going to be a threat. I thought that we would be better than them, and I actually thought West Ham might have done a lot bit better than they did if they'd assigned a striker, but they didn't. I predicted 6th. Arguably, that would have been an underachievement still, because I think we do have the 5th best squads in the league. I think Man United have a better squad than us. Individually, they do. But as a team, as a collective, they just haven't gelled this season at all. Yeah. I mean, you listed off a couple of players like Ronaldo's their only good player, but look, Bruno Fernandes last season was probably the best player in the league, besides maybe Salah and De Bruyne, arguably. But Fernandes was up there with being the best. They've brought in Ronaldo. They brought in Sancho, who was in double figures for goals and assists for Dortmund last year. They had a mad team, and they spent a ridiculous amount on it. And we spent more than anyone else in the summer, and we had to, because of all the previous mistakes that we've made in the market. We've had to try and arrest this slide by making really important signings. But it's not like the 150 million we spent it's not like we went out and got a Ronaldo or a Varane or a Sancho. We went out and made astute signings. We went out and we didn't make, what's the word I'm looking for? Inspiring signings, I don't think, did we? I wouldn't say that Ødegaard and Tomiyasu and White and Tavares and Lokonga and Rams, I wouldn't call them inspiring signings, but they've proved to be smart signings.
Yeah.
And I think what a lot of people have wanted from Arsenal in the past is for Arsenal to be Chelsea or to be City and to go out and, buy the big players, when it's not really been possible. But when we've had 150 million to spend in this market, we've gone out and been smart with it. And that's the reason why we are where we are. And I've had a really interesting back and forth with Nick, and it's all respect, by the way, back and forth in the chat box. I love joining your chat box, boys, because, I didn't get to talk to these people usually. But it's interesting that I think Nick put the comment saying that Emery would get us to top 4 from where we are right now. And, the irony about that is that if you look at where we were in that season in 2018-19 with the 14th of March now we were a little bit obviously further ahead in the season by that point, and there was 8 games left of that season, and we only won 3 of them, including the last game of the season against Burnley when we had nothing to play for. So we choked that year where we should have got into the top 4. And that's going to be a really good comparative for this season, is about whether or not we choke with this manager compared to where we choked with Emery. And not having European football is going to be a big, big bonus to Mikel Arteta. But the,
Yeah,
the shame
100%.
is that we've got all these rescheduled fixtures, especially against big sides, that are going to be probably put into midweek slots that, you know, probably make that the kind of same style of running with these big midweek fixtures. So we'll wait and see. But I think that there is a perception about Arteta that sometimes gets a little bit maybe hazy when you compare it to what happened in the past, when actually, you know, Emery did choke that 2018-19 season because we missed out on by 1 point. And if we'd have beaten either of Brighton or Palace, we would have been in the top four.
And listen, I think sorry to interrupt, but I think if you look at this team now and what he's done, he's literally had to gut it and get rid of a lot of dead wood, and he's changed this team, right? And what's the thing that impresses me the most is the mentality has changed. So there's people in here still criticizing the guy. At least be humble and accept that if he's doing a good job, you're just as quick to criticize. Be just as quick to praise the guy. The mentality of this team has changed. You can't deny it.
Why do you think they do, Lev? Why do you think there's still so many people that...
Do you know what it is? It's ego. Fans do not want to admit they've said something wrong. They want to always prove that they're correct. And it just drives me insane. When you're looking at conversations you have on social media, they've said something and they stand behind it and they're so buoyant with it when they're like...
Yeah, but no, it's very easy. It's very easy to stand by what you say on Twitter or Instagram because it's just a keyboard. You write what you say and it's the end of it. Whereas if you have a face-to-face argument with somebody, they might actually admit at some point.
It's this crazy ego thing that's seeped in recently that people don't want to admit they might have got it right or wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, just accept it. Nothing's changed. It's been like that for years.
Yeah, Lev, we're just talking about the fixtures and what's coming up and everything, right? We've got somebody in the comments, ED or EDI, right? This is a very interesting one as well. This is it's a different point of view that we never thought, I didn't touch on. He says, Shaheen, I don't think all these teams you mentioned are happy to face Arsenal either. And that is a point. A lot of these teams that I mentioned, they may not, West Ham may not be particularly looking forward to.
Teams are fearing us now.
Yeah, they are.
Liverpool are going to be looking at this game on Wednesday as one of their hardest fixtures between now and
the
end of the season.
You're absolutely right. They're not going to be looking at this as the old Arsenal where you come in, play tough, play hard. They will make mistakes at some point and you score. It's not like that anymore. And obviously, it's...
But you know what? You could see these guys care. When they make a mistake, you see they care. You know, when Gabriel made that mistake against Watford, you could see he cared. He was like, pissed that he made that mistake. So the mentality is good in these players. I'm happy.
Yeah, but there are some teams as well. I'm quite surprised with the way. The turnaround of Newcastle has been phenomenal. Really, Eddie Howe needs to get a lot of credit on that. And we touched on a subject last week, and I know you're very outspoken and opinionated on certain things, Lev. So I just want to get your thoughts on the recent developments at Chelsea.
All right.
And how's that going to work?
Look,
right,
it goes through a few phases as a fan, right? As an Arsenal fan in particular. Firstly, obviously, we were all sniggering and laughing because that's what happens. It's your competition, right? And let's be honest, we harbour a little bit of needle towards Chelsea in particular because Abramovich came and he changed football forever. He started offering more money than everybody else, and he was drawing. You know, it had a huge knock-on effect on the game. So from that aspect, I was laughing. I think it's funny, you know, because these guys, not particularly great fan of their fans. Have you seen the way they have acted abroad and all of that? And there's a bit of a history with their fans. But now that I start to look at it from the cold light of day, as much as I don't like Chelsea, and as much as, you know, it does make me laugh seeing what's happening. What is the difference between Chelsea, Newcastle, Man City? Like, and now that they're looking at Chelsea potentially being touted by another Saudi media company or something to come in and buy them. So let me get this straight. You're going to sanction one guy, but then, I'm not being funny, I think I read 81 people were beheaded in Saudi Arabia over the weekend. 81 various things. 81 apparently it's a modern record. It's a modern day record to have mass execution like that. 81 people in one weekend. So let me ask you this: What makes one right and one okay? One wrong and one okay? There seems to be a lot of hypocrisy when it comes to sport at the moment, using politics and one side when it suits them and then being told to stay silent, another side when it don't suit them. There's a lot of things like that. But
there's another thing that we discussed as well last week, Levin. Just want to get your opinion on it as well. And I think it's really fantastic that football has come together for this Ukraine issue and what everybody's going through.
100%.
You know, Arsenal before the game against Leicester, you know, they're bringing out the banner, everybody gets behind it, and there's one guy on the side with a big Ukrainian flag. I remember when Mesut Ozil came to talk about the Uyghur Muslims, Arsenal was so quick to distance themselves from
yeah,
that.
it was shut up.
Or the issue in obviously Israel, and I hope with Palestine and Israel, and I just hope that if we're gonna pick causes to support, there's a lot more other causes that we should get behind support, like the war in Yemen, the Uyghur Muslims, the conflict in Peshawar, the issue with Palestine and Israel, and we shouldn't just pick one and go all out for a, you know, I've never seen anybody bringing a Palestinian flag or Yemeni flag or anything like that. So you were not here last week. What was your thoughts on that?
Well, you know, I agree. I think all lives do matter. I think war is just in a modern time when we're supposed to be civilized people. I think war is just should be the last. You know, you shouldn't even be looking at that. And there's war's been going on for a long time, and nothing's been mentioned. And it only seems to highlight things that do and things that don't are kept and swept under the carpet. But this whole Chelsea thing is exactly the same sort of thing. This philosophy is going everywhere now. So one thing is wrong somewhere, but if it doesn't suit your narrative, but it's okay if it does suit your narrative. And we know that for example, the UK is doing business with Saudi Arabia. It's okay. The UK are doing business with China. It's okay. But however, you fall out of Russia, it's not okay. And I just don't get it. If you're going to bring it into sport, bring it into sport. You want to use sport and politics together, hand in hand, then keep it unison. Like one more thing I'd like to add. Rightfully so, about a couple of weeks ago, Arsenal were using BQT. I'm sorry, I'm not pronouncing it right because I'm not really clued up on this stuff. LGBTQT, that's it, right. Now, whatever it is. Anyway, right.
Have you butchered it? Well, go on. We know what you're talking about.
It's another world to me, right? But anyway, rightfully so, it was highlighted. The rainbow was on the badge. It was on the social media and all of that, right? Brilliant. Okay, get it. However, then you go and let Saudi Arabia come in and buy football teams from you, and they are the most anti when it comes to homosexuals and bisexuals and all of that sort of thing. So where is the logic? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Tom, I saw there was an argument that it didn't really have a lot of leg, but is it fair to punish Chelsea Football Club, right, for their owner and nobody has directly linked him to the war? You know, if anything, he's come out and said, you know, there should be peace, and so it's just it's basically guilt by association. Should Chelsea Football Club pay the price for that the way it is? Because I mean, I was watching the Chelsea Newcastle game, and they were talking travel away, £20,000 budget, which is not a lot, and the guy was saying that Chelsea got enough money to sustain themselves for the next maybe 3 games. And then
I thought you was going to say 3 years. 3 games.
3 games.
Yeah.
Because everything is frozen, Lev.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because you phrased the question, do Chelsea deserve to be punished? Well, Chelsea, the football club, isn't Roman Abramovich. They are 2 separate things. You have Chelsea Football Club, which is owned by Roman Abramovich. But because it is owned by Roman Abramovich and his assets have been seized and frozen, the effects will impact Chelsea. Now, to ask whether that's fair on a you know, your average Chelsea fan that's, you know, no matter what their views on anything, just your average Chelsea fan, like completely ignorant of what their background is, their views on whatever, you know, is it fair on there? No, of course not. Like, but that's the situation. Like, that is just what the thing is. But however, Lev raises the important point is that the Saudi Arabian owned, say, Newcastle, And we're currently seeing, and I think it was Nick put it in the chat box, but there's a report, and I was just reading it while you guys were chatting, by the Financial Times, stating that Boris Johnson is about to appeal to Saudi Arabia, supposedly to increase oil production, despite in the same weekend the UK have condemned that mass killing that you were talking about, Ed, and the hypocrisy there. And look, we can, we can get into all the intangibles of diplomacy and, give and take and stuff. And if we didn't go to them to not get oil, where would we get our oil from and stuff like that? And I don't really want to go into that because obviously we're talking about football, and it's a very long-winded discussion. But, it's the Premier League. It's on the Premier League to do a fit and proper test of owners. And if the Premier League are not taking into consideration possible links to human rights atrocities, and they're allowing a Saudi Arabian-backed consortium to buy Newcastle, I mean, arguably, you can't even point the finger at the Saudis initially. You have to point the finger at the people that have let them in. Like, you have to look at the Premier League and go, how on earth can you say that's okay? Like, and say and allow that to happen, and then say the same things with Roman Abramovich. My history of Roman Abramovich is not well up, so I'm not going to try and pretend I know the history. But I don't know how far back his links with, say, Putin go. I don't know if they go back to before he bought Chelsea in 2003. One of you two maybe else know the answer. If you don't, fair enough. And I don't know if that would have then been against what was ethical, if you know what I mean, like for him to have bought Chelsea at that point, or whether he would have been deemed, worthy of buying a football club in the Premier League.
Tom, apparently, UK is the best place to wash your money if you're a Russian, and then a lot of them
people
have
getting
got
their
a lot
asset
of.
seized right now. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I mean, I know there's an Iranian brother that owns.
Shaheen, do
Everton.
you want to be on this show next week? Because I don't know if you'll put it up.
No. I mean, it's the truth, man. But look, the Iranian owner, Fahad Mashiri, right? He was an accountant to Alisher Osmanov, right? So it's actually Osmanov that owns Everton, not him. And if you, I don't know if you noticed,
Then why they're not being sanctioned?
No, hold on. Well, because on paper, he's the one who owns it, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember there was an article that came out a few years ago about Prince Charles having an offshore account and he was all did it? Do you remember that?
I don't.
There was an article that came out that apparently Prince Charles has got an offshore account and it was a whistleblower. There was another. This was not big news at the time because none of these mattered. But there was another account that came to light as well, and there was a transaction of about 300 million from Alisher Osmanov to Fahad Mashiri, and that's the exact amount that he paid to buy Everton. I don't want to go into this too much again because it's a football related.
Football. Did you see Ralph Rangnick's comments the other day?
About
he
Ronaldo
mentioned Arsenal and Everton when talking about Chelsea.
No,
did you see them?
No, what did he say?
Tom, whilst you look for it, can I just read out a couple of super chats that I missed? Wayne, as usual, thank you very much for your kind super chat, my brother. Sorry that I'm reading a bit late. It was just a very in-depth conversation between us, so I missed it.
Fans of question time, didn't it?
Fans just have a need to be negative. Like a few and always have something to say when we get a negative result. Haven't seen them since Burnley. This is what the guys were saying earlier as well, that sometimes people are negative for no reason. And this one is from Push.
Come on, Shaheen.
Push
Shaheen.
Braga. Push Braga. And I'm going to forgive me if I butchered your name. I apologize if I've said it wrong. Please accept my apology. Thank you very much for your kind super chat. For the game on Wednesday, do you think Arsenal should go with the same system and same players against Liverpool? Personally, pragmatism may be a good idea. We discussed this earlier, but just quickly, guys, yes or no? Lev?
I'm a bit torn on how to approach it because, I mean, Tom raised a very valid point earlier with regards to West Ham, as we said. And thinking about the way Arteta is, I could see him trying to get them to press them and play their own game against them, to be honest with you. But it's going to be interesting.
Okay, Tom?
As I say, I think that if we want to get a result from the game, we do need to try and play our game and play how we have been playing and just maintain as solid defensive rigidity as possible. I've got the quotes if you want them.
please.
So Ranić was asked about the Chelsea situation and he said, could anyone foresee what would happen in the last 4 weeks? We have to be very careful to blame someone. Not only at Chelsea, but also at Arsenal and Everton, there were ownership shares by Russian oligarchs. Chelsea was not the only club.
So using the links with Usmanov.
Do you know where Ranić joined Man United from?
Yeah, Russian
Spartak
club.
Moscow. Yeah, like
I don't know.
There is again hypocrisy in this. Like
there's hypocrisy. The world has gone doolally right now. That's all I'm going to say on the matter.
What's so annoying is that clearly, like, whether it's a mind game tactic by Ralph Ranić to try and offset Arsenal or something. Let's be real; they're desperate right now. They need to do as much as they can to try and throw Arsenal off of their track. But Alisher Usmanov had a approximately 30% ownership of Arsenal. Right? I think it's around that figure. But he was continually denied access to the Arsenal board every single time he tried to get onto it. He tried to buy Stan Kroenke out. He got rejected. And eventually Stan Kroenke bought out Alisher Usmanov's share. Usmanov had no bearing on any decision that ever happened at Arsenal.
Yeah, but Tom, even if he had, I mean, look, America has been bombing everybody for the past 20 years. We never say, we need to deal because Kroenke was close to, I don't know who and so on. So you don't know what happens in the world or anything. At the time, there was no problems with, Russia, or not even to this certain extent. So you can't, it's very difficult to know what's happening in the future. Yes, we had some Russian involvement. Yes, but we don't anymore. And that should have no reflection on Arsenal Football Club at all. If anything, you should probably look at Everton in more detailed than Arsenal, or even look at yourself, that you coming from a Russian. If you're in the Russian league, you'll see a lot of corruption, and you must have turned your blind eye to it.
How many people were desperate for Daniel Ek to be successful in his takeover of Arsenal? And then you look at kind of the controversies surrounding Spotify and stuff like that. Look, we start talking about ownership of clubs. It's very rare that you'll find in any case there hasn't been some form of thing that you wouldn't look upon, disfavorably at all. Some form of action, some form of association, whatever. It's very difficult, but it's important, as I think we've done, to talk about and try and highlight the other things, which Mo obviously does very well when he comes on. He talks about all of the other atrocities that go on and why is there not the same amount of attention being paid to certain things. But I think, with the Chelsea situation, I don't feel sorry for Chelsea. I don't feel sorry for them at all. I have no sympathy for Chelsea whatsoever. And, you said it, I think when you started off talking about this, Lev, at the beginning, you said, we've all had a bit of a giggle at Chelsea. Look, we've seen them chant Roman Abramovich's name during moments that was meant for showing unity towards the victims of Ukraine. We've seen videos of Chelsea fans pushing a black man off of a subway train in Paris and chanting. I think the chants were "We're racist and we like it," or something like that. Yeah. We've seen a ridiculous number of controversial events with that club. And by the way, the Arsenal have their own links. We can go through all of Arsenal stuff as well. But I don't feel sorry for Chelsea at all. I have no sympathy for Chelsea.
This is a question to you and Lev as well. So, if you want to, if we go based on what Ralph Rangnick has said, right? Is there a big question mark on everything that Chelsea has won?
Are you suggesting they should be stripped?
No. I think that's a bit too much, and that's not fair. But it's now a question mark hanging all over that now because you won that during
Shaheen,
the time.
Do you know how they paid for all the transfers over that? The 1.5 billion. Do you know how they got that money from Abramovich?
No.
So there's a company that he has that's called Fordstam right now, and so Chelsea owe Fordstam 1.5 billion pounds basically, and that's the money that Abramovich has invested into Chelsea. Approximately that amount of money.
Yeah.
Arsenal, right? We owe Kroenke money as well because he's taken out loans to refinance loans of Arsenal. Yeah. So if we're going to start having a discussion about whether or not they should lose their, titles or whatever, eventually it will come back round to talking about Arsenal. Like Arsenal and
No,
Stan Kroenke has
Tom.
done the same thing with investing.
No, I
into
understand that, but there is now. I mean, he's now being sanctioned, Abramovich, and there's a lot of question marks all over that where Kroenke's aren't. Right, so that's what I'm saying. Now, is this now a big question mark? He's going to hang on that club for some time to come because of what has just happened. And you know what? To a certain degree, I do. I know you guys may not agree, but I feel a little bit sorry for Abramovich.
I don't feel sorry for Chelsea.
No, not Chelsea. I'm saying for Abramovich as a person. I mean,
why am I going to feel sorry for? I don't feel sorry for Abramovich.
It's just in the space of 2 weeks, your assets are all frozen.
He ruined it. The one thing I will say about that man is he came in and he ruined our game, and he made it a haven for others with money to come and start using clubs to launder and do whatever they wanted to do. So I don't have any sympathy for him in that aspect. What I struggle with purely is the hypocrisy behind it all, because I have zero love for Chelsea, especially the fan base.
You do know you live in Chelsea. You don't know that, so you're gonna have to walk your dog out later.
Listen. There's
so if I was you,
there's people that live here that are Chelsea fans, and they're lovely guys. I'm not saying that all fans are bad, but there has been a section of these fans for a very long time, and it's been around for a long time, but it's just a hypocrisy. You might as well. Oh, right. So Russia, then, like you rightfully said, America have bombed invaded how many countries over the last 10 years, 20 years, 30 years? I mean, where's it stop?
Like for me, if it was the other way around, I wouldn't be asking for sympathy. Like, if Arsenal ever got in a situation where our owner was found guilty of being associated with something and had their assets frozen and stuff, I wouldn't be asking for sympathy. I wouldn't be chanting Stan Kroenke's name. I'd suck it up and take it, and realize that's the situation my club's in. I'm still going to support them. And I said we did this when we talked about kind of Newcastle being taken over by an ownership that has alleged links to human rights atrocities. If Arsenal was taken over by someone who had links to human rights atrocities, would I stop supporting Arsenal? And the answer is reluctantly no, because, I love Arsenal for what it is. I don't love Arsenal for who owns it. I love Arsenal because it's part of my identity. So it's just what Lev was highlighting there is that is a specific section of that Chelsea fan base that has got these associations. And I'm sure if you look hard enough, you'll find plenty of Arsenal fans that have been pretty horrific with some of the things that they've said too. Everyone's guilty of having a minority. It's just with Chelsea, there's been a very public kind of part of it.
My knowledge of Roman Abramovich and his business, admittedly, is very, very limited. And when I say I feel sorry for him, it's just I was trying to say is there an other side of the argument that we're kind of not seeing as that there's a man there and this is what is happening.
It probably is, yeah.
But just quickly to round this whole Chelsea business up, is that going to work in our favor? Because surely there's not going to be another Abramovich that comes and just say, you know what, we spent £70 million on Kepa. He's not good enough. It's all right. We'll go another one. Just bench him.
Yeah, and they spent a hell of a lot of money on Lukaku, who's turned out to just be Lukaku.
Rubbish. Werner, you buy Timo Werner. He's not all that.
He's terrible as well.
Yeah. So there's not going to be another situation like that. And
no,
is that going to make it more of a level playing field?
If anything, it'll go the other way. If anything, Arsenal should have the ability to turn it over in their favour. It will make it more level initially.
Because Tom, sorry to interrupt you, but I remember before Abramovich took over, I remember Ken Bates bought Chelsea for £1, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and I think if I'm not mistaken, I think they were almost close to being going bust.
Yeah, they were. Saved the bridge and all of that stuff.
Yeah. When he came and he sorted it out.
Yeah. Like, look, there's no one. The point is that you're raising, Sheen, is there's nobody that is going to come into Chelsea and be as passionate as and invested as Roman Abramovich was in Chelsea. There's no one. There'll be people that will invest and that will spend money, but they won't be like Abramovich. And that's the opportunity for a club like Arsenal and a club like Newcastle too, who are looking to, be the next Chelsea effectively, where their owners are willing to be as passionate and as invested to get Newcastle to the top of the Premier League, because they've got money to burn. They've got money to just spend. And the way in which Newcastle have spent money in the last few years means that they can go and spend loads and not be affected by FFP. You'll get a lot of people saying, why isn't FFP stepping in on Newcastle soon? And that's because it can't. It actually, the way that it's set out, they can go and spend loads because of how little Mike Ashley spent at the club. So they are going to go big. They are going to go very, very big.
Right.
And we've got to try and compete with that and get arguably getting into the Champions League now, especially with the Chelsea situation. Is
how do you see this ending, Tom, for Chelsea?
In terms of what?
This whole episode. I have a feeling the government, they're not going to be bothering with this. They will give them a license to sell the club and they will hold the money, and whether Abramovich ever gets the money or not is a different thing.
Yeah, I think with Chelsea, look, if Abramovich really does care, like he's saying, he will just allow the sale to go through and he won't gain anything.
I don't think it's him now holding the sale.
Well, no, but what happens is with the license, they'll be looking to get a license which basically will effectively allow the club to be exchanged hands, but Abramovich will legally not be able to benefit in any way financially from Chelsea's sale. I think that's what will eventually happen. But the issue will be, from their perspective, is who is the new owner going to be? What are they going to do? And is the damage that's being done in the time until that point in which they're sold going to be too great to kind of turn around in the short term? And actually, is it going to affect them in the longer kind of term? So I predict that they will still get top four this season, and even with the win in the Champions League, they still made a loss of something like 170 odd million quid from the last set of accounts. So it's not like they're making loads of money at all, because they're not.
Lev, how do you see this ending?
They'll just sell it to another dodgy person. No, I'm sorry, but like the people that are in question at the moment or in line for it potentially, it's nonsensical. Like, it's nonsensical. I mean, I don't understand anything anymore in this world. There's no logic anymore. So what will happen is he will sell it. He will sell it, but it will go to somebody else in Saudi Arabia, which is also questionable, and the silly journey continues. Abramovich is probably the only person I've ever met has proven that you can actually polish.
Have you met him?
No.
Have you met him?
No, but he's proven you can polish a third, is what I'm saying. Yeah, he's spent 1.5 billion to polish that turd, but he's polished it nonetheless.
Yeah.
Well, super chat from very well Jeeves. These sanctions have nothing to do with Chelsea. It's about stopping the influx of dollars into Russia. Can't conflate Abramovich with KSE. Abramovich supplies metal to build tanks for Putin.
Oh, come on. As if... Listen, this is a ridiculous comment. Like, as if they're relying on Abramovich for metal to make tanks and they don't already have tanks. Like, you think they're sitting there like a Meccano set, building it with Abramovich's metal? Like, they've already got a huge force in Russia as an army, loads of tanks, loads of jet planes and fighters. They're not sitting there. That's just absolute. I'm not saying the guy's not dodgy, and he hasn't probably done some dodgy dealings within Russia, and maybe, you know what? In America, what do when there is a campaign? There's always people greasing palms when there's a campaigns, with all sorts of people with the presidents giving them money for campaigns, all of that. This stuff happens everywhere. But it just so happens that because there's a war going on Ukraine and Russia, oh, happy days, he's Russian, get out of here. The rest is okay. It makes no sense. Sorry, bullshit.
All right. To round up the show, let's do predictions for the Wednesday game. Lev.
Wednesday's game prediction. Now, this is going to be a tough one, boy, because I need to get some points on the board, some big points. I need to get a prediction right.
I don't know what most.
Hold on. What's the situation if we say a draw? Like, what happens then? Like,
you have to get the result right.
If
you say a draw, it's a draw.
What if you lot all say you're gonna? What if you lot all say a result as in one wins or the other wins. I say draw. You lot are all wrong. I might have maybe it's 2-2 instead of 1-1, and I might say
You'll
1-1.
get 1 point.
Yeah,
We'll get no points.
Is that it? All
Yeah.
right.
You get a point for a result, 3 for the correct score.
I'm gonna go 1-1. I want us to win though. If we win, great. Do you know what I mean?
Is that a diplomatic 1-1 or a
It's a
genuine
1-1 to try and make sure I try and compete with you guys. But if I'm wrong, who cares if we've won? But 1-1.
Tom?
I think Liverpool are going to win 3-1.
Fucking hell, 3-1, Tom.
Yeah, that's they're very good. Like, trust me, I really, really want to be wrong. But if this is based on, look, this isn't my
demoted points for that.
This isn't my heart speaking here. Like my heart would be sitting here and going 2-0 Arsenal all day long. But you know, this could cost me 200 quid, Shaheen. So you know,
I know. Listen,
everyone's taking it super serious.
Listen, I've been thinking about this all day as well, and it's very difficult because my heart tells me Arsenal would win. I would want to win, but my head is quite the opposite.
Sorry, Shaheen.
And when there's money involved, I've got to go with my head over my heart. Like if you were saying to me, "What do you think the score's going to be?" and we were having a pint in the pub, I'd say 2-0 Arsenal all day long. But look, you know, I've got to go with what I think.
I'm a bit surprised with 3-1 Liverpool, to be honest.
Everyone's so shook with this £200 bill now. Everyone's really think they're going to start doing all these.
I'll say.
Go on.
I'll say 2-1 Liverpool.
What did Mo say? Do we know what Mo said?
I don't know. I've messaged him, but I think he's either sleeping or he's out.
Yeah. Hey, look, people are saying in the chat like you can't be going against your team. It's not like that. You have to understand that if we were doing this for fun, if this was for fun, I'll be going 2-0 Arsenal. But it ain't for fun.
It's fun.
Yeah, it's £200 at the end of this.
Oh,
you have to puff up. It's not you're going to win £200. You're going to lose £200.
The Soul Kulu, whatever your name is, give it a rest. As if I don't know about international affairs. You judge too soon, my friend. But anyway,
listen, Mo I'm sure he's going to come back to me before Wednesday with his prediction, and we'll have that. But so you're saying 1-1 Lev?
Yep.
I'll say 2-1 Liverpool. Tom is saying 3-1 Liverpool. It's interesting that actually none of us have gone for an Arsenal win.
If one person just says Arsenal are going to win and we win, that's it. They've won. It doesn't matter what the result because everyone else is. Yeah.
Mo's got a bit of a heads up on this now because he can sit down and think about a prediction. But yeah, guys, please let us know in the comments or in the chat what your thoughts are and how do you see this game planning or turning out on Wednesday. It's certainly going to be a very, very difficult game. Liverpool are a very, very good team. They've got a very, very good manager. They've got a very good midfield, very good defense, and a very good forward in line. Even if Salah is injured, you got Jota coming in. He always does well against us. Mane always does well against us. Firmino will come in. Actually, you know what? This Diaz guy that they signed, he's good as well. He's very pacey.
This has become about Liverpool and how good they are.
No, it's not about, but it's our position. We have to talk about our position, no? We can't just say,
we can beat this team, man. We can do it. We can do it.
Why didn't you say 2-1 Arsenal then? Or 2-0 Arsenal? Or 1-0 Arsenal?
I want us to win, right? But I could see a draw, so I've gone with a draw. But
1-1, you said.
I do still think we can beat them. I do.
Yeah, so do I. Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm optimistic.
As we said, you just said 3-1, mate.
Yeah, that's my head thinking like logically.
Don't sit there go, oh yeah. You just said 3-1.
This is a good one. Hey, listen, this is a good one. Nick,
you're not going to bait me into changing my prediction. It's not going to happen.
No, listen, Nick has put something interesting here. Do you think Arteta and Klopp?
I don't think Arteta likes Klopp. I think he respects him, but I don't think he likes him.
Yeah, because there was a bit of an issue.
I don't like Klopp anymore at all. I can't stand him. I think he's a whingy little man. I don't like him. He's a little moaner.
And his new teeth look weird.
Yeah. I used to really like him. Even when he first joined Liverpool, I still liked him. But over the course of his time at Liverpool, I just think he's just a little moaner.
Well,
is my polite way of putting it.
On that lovely note, we'll bring the show to an end. And thank you very much for everybody who's watched on Mo's channel or Arsenal Lounge. Please subscribe to Arsenal Lounge, the Gooner Talk TV and Mo Haydar's channel. Tom, you still do 8 o'clock shows every day?
I do indeed. That shows you've been.
Do you want to
watching.
tell people about what you got going on and when you're going to have us on your show?
Yeah, man. You can join me at 8 a.m. every single day. In the mornings, UK time, we do reactions and, of course, after the games as well. And I'm trying to think of anything else that we do. Preview shows. We've got a preview tomorrow at 5 p.m. UK time as well. So lots of stuff.
I watch the shows, Tom. Every morning, 8 a.m. It's my favourite poo tube channel.
Tom, there's a lot of people in the comment. They're asking when you're going to have us on your channel.
Are they?
Yes, there's a lot.
Can you highlight one of those comments?
Yeah, I will later. I'll show you later.
I've seen it. A few people saying Lev. Someone said Mo and Tom should host the next show. They said up there. I don't know why.
Right.
What is going on?
I told them where to go, by the way. So
yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, dear. Very soon, Shaheen. Very soon.
Again?
Very soon, mate. We'll have you on very soon. I've not been doing pods.
How long have you been hearing this very soon, mate?
No,
what's that?
I don't expect to get invites. Don't expect it.
I don't know, you know. It's either very soon or the invites will come out soon.
Yeah, I don't expect anything. I don't even bother. I don't even check my phone.
No, but to be fair, Tom.
I'm just saying I don't.
No, to be fair, Tom is the only one who's invited us to his channel so far, and Judges as well.
Judges
once. What
is this becoming? Anyway,
anyway. No, by the way, as well, don't forget, guys, to follow the Gunners versus Cancel as well. Mike and Lev, we need to do something with Mike as well to talk about this charity, etc. And hopefully we'll have Tom as well with us. Anyway, thank you very much, guys. It's been a pleasure, Tom. Lovely having you on as always. It's always great chatting to you. And Lev, do you want to do the final?
I'm just so glad. I'm really happy right now to be a fan. I love the way we're playing. I love you loungers. I love being back. I've missed being on this show. I'm going to be looking to do as much as I can on this channel again. And also, leave in the comments anything you think from today's show. Also, give us loads of your opinions on Shaheen's hosting abilities. Mark it out of 10. 10 being amazing, 1 being only joking. Anyway, guys, love you guys. I'm glad to be back. Come on, you fucking Gunners. See you later. We're out of here. Peace.